Time to move to Cormac's. The werewolf pumps his fist into the air.
Yes, I've always wanted to have an apprentice. I'll teach you everything I know.
So not very much.
Cormac turns to Morag with a blank look.
What do you mean?
Great, that gives me a lot of confidence about my choice as supervisor.
Never mind.
Cormac shrugs and twirls back around to face me.
Anyway, meet me back here tomorrow morning so you can start learning about all the hard work that goes into a haunted house behind the scenes.
Sure. Soon after, once all the arrangements are figured out, the 3 committee members tip dirt over the fire they're meeting over. On the way to the warehouse the next morning, I find myself stopping just outside the fence. I don't know if I've fully come to terms with everything that happened last night. Not only did all my preconceptions about the world get completely upended by meeting 3 living, breathing cryptids, but then they offered me a job. Kind of. Reflecting on it in the light of day, I don't even feel like I can be completely sure it wasn't all a dream. If I hop over this fence again, will I step back into the world of the supernatural, or will it just be the same abandoned warehouse it always was? I guess there's only one way to find out. My feet sink into the weeds on the other side, and I stumble for a moment before picking up the pace towards the building. Inside, each of the 3 people I met yesterday seem to be busy with a different task. Morag is seated at a makeshift desk filling out some paperwork, while Esseth is up on a ladder apparently doing something to the lights. Cormac is seated cross-legged on the floor in front of him, a big blocky laptop covered in peeling stickers. As I approach him, I see those big ears on top of his head perk up. A moment later, his entire body follows them and he leaps to his feet, almost knocking over the laptop.
What's up?
His green eyes are wide and shining, and I can see his fangs in his toothy grin. Not much? What are we working on today?
We're doing the absolutely most important part of getting ready to run a haunted house, of course.
The most important part? I wonder what that means. Is it the costumes?
Nope, that's Esseth's department.
The special effects?
Nope, also Esseth.
Sounds like Esseth does a lot of work around here.
Guess again.
Is it summoning some spooky ghosts?
What?
I don't know. Do you have a ritual for summoning some real ghosts to haunt the place or something?
Wow, that's a good idea. Maybe we should try that next year. But no, that's not it.
Okay, just tell me, what is it?
We're working on...
He jumps and throws out his arms like a hyperactive magician.
Marketing.
Really? That's the most important part? Well, yeah. What good is a haunted house that nobody comes to?
Of course, there's no point in any of the other work we do without marketing. If no one knows the warehouse is here, no one will come.
I guess you're right. I just thought we might be doing something more spooky.
Well, we do want to make our posters look spooky. And then once we've had them printed, we can spend tomorrow walking around town and putting them up all over the place. That can be spooky too. Sometimes you see some real weirdos hanging out downtown. One time I definitely saw a ghost on the college campus. He looked really pale and sick and he was wearing super old-fashioned clothes.
That just sounds like an average student to me. But the more pressing issue is that the timing of this marketing campaign sounds a little off. You haven't put up any posters around town yet. Isn't that cutting it kind of close? It's almost Halloween already. Maybe that explains why I hadn't heard of this place when it's supposedly so popular.
Well, you might think that, but actually studies show that most of our target audience of high school and college students don't like to make plans too far in advance. They prefer to be more spontaneous and are much more likely to attend an event that they just heard about right before Halloween.
Really? Morgan interjects without looking up from her paperwork.
He's making that up. He just forgot to do it earlier.
I didn't forget. I was prioritizing.
Esseth's voice echoes down from the rafters.
He says that every time he forgets something.
Shut up. Look, Kevin, the most important thing is we only have a few hours to make the best poster ever. Then I have to send it into the printers in time for our mission tomorrow. Are you ready? Do you have what it takes?
Sure, I mean, I took a couple art classes once.
Perfect. Take a look at what I'm working on over here.
Whoops, wrong button. He tilts his laptop at an angle, and I crouch down to get a better look. Squinting at the screen, I notice that he's made some creative design choices. What's going on with the fonts here?
I'm glad you asked. So this one at the top kind of reminds you of ancient Egypt, right? Like tombs and mummies and stuff. Scary. And this other one with the smaller information at the bottom is like writing a comic book. It looks cool and exciting. I bet if I saw those choice fonts on another poster, I'd want to find out what it was advertising for sure.
He grins eagerly. Yeah, this is Papyrus and Comic Sans, right?
How did you know? You must be a font expert.
I choose my words carefully, not wanting to dampen his enthusiasm too much. They're kind of popular. A lot of people use them. But a lot of other people think they're a bit cheesy. If you put both of them on a poster, you might get some people making fun of it. Cormac shrugs.
So if there's one thing I've learned in my life, it's that some people will make fun of you no matter what you do. You're better off just trying not to worry about it. You can't please everyone.
I'm not happy about bringing more Comic Sans into the world, but he does have a point. It's impossible to make a perfect poster that absolutely no one will think looks bad. Might as well let him have fun with it. I'm sure there are plenty of people who don't mind those fonts as much as I do. You know what? You're right. I hadn't thought about it that way. Let's keep the fonts the way they are.
Yes, this poster's gonna be great. I can't wait to hang it up all over town.
Yeah, me too. But before that, I was wondering about the color scheme too. It's a bit unconventional for Halloween. He nods vigorously.
Right, I wanted to make sure I put in lots of red for blood because that's scary. And then I figured contrasting colors are good, right? So I put in some green too. It could be like creepy monster slime. I think it will really stand out from all the orange and black posters out there.
There's one major issue with that. Well, I understand your reasoning, but red and green is kind of the typical Christmas color scheme, right? It doesn't seem right for Halloween. People might overlook the poster thinking it's a Christmas event advertising early. His glowing eyes widen with dawning realization.
Oh! I don't celebrate Christmas, so I hadn't even thought about that.
Whether he celebrates it or not, I'm surprised that he could somehow escape the typical association between red and green and Christmas. Does he never go shopping during the entire month of December? At least he was willing to accept the criticism.
Do you think we should switch to more traditional Halloween colors instead?
I examined the screen. Maybe keeping the green would be okay, but we could replace the red with orange. Maybe even add a touch of blue?
Then it's still unique. I like it.
Great, let's do that. Last thing I wanted to ask about was the logo. I watch his face intently for any reaction, hoping I'm not about to ruin his artistic dreams. Did you draw this yourself? He smiles sheepishly. Or maybe I should say wolfishly?
Okay, I know I'm not a great artist. It's a bit rough, but I think that's okay.
He leaps into a dramatic pose, the light from his glowing hair dancing in his already shining eyes.
It's got heart. It truly represents the work that Morag and Eseth and I put into organizing the warehouse every year. Because even if it's not perfect, we keep doing our best. That's what the warehouse is all about.
I furrow my eyebrows and peer more closely at the drawing on the screen. I'm not really seeing the symbolism. Maybe we could do something more polished. But I need to keep being cautious about what I say if it means that much to him. I don't want to make him feel bad, especially when he looks so excited. You're totally right. That's why I think we should keep this basic design. But we could also probably make it look a bit more polished. That way it still has your heart in it, but it will also be more appealing to a wider audience. Fortunately, Cormac doesn't look offended at all. If anything, he actually seems even more excited.
That's perfect. Are we gonna make it more polished, though? That's about the best that I can do.
I have a friend online who does some graphic design for video games. Let me message her and see if she has a bit of time to help out. Maybe she can give us some tips. Cormac's jaw drops.
I love video games. Oh, that gives me a great idea. We should make a video game based on the warehouse. Maybe a stealth game where you have to hide from monsters and get through the house alive. Maybe a dating sim. No, maybe one of those Otome games where you date cute boys and one of them could be me. Hey Kevin, how much do you think it costs for that motion capture technology they use to put people in video games?
I opened and closed my mouth a few times, not even sure which part of that tangent I should respond to. How about we do some research on that after we work on the poster?
Oh yeah, the poster, let's do it.
He flounces back onto the ground, landing in a cross-legged position. I don't know how he isn't in pain from throwing himself at the concrete floor that hard. Maybe it's a werewolf power. Okay, let's get to work. We have a lot of changes to get done before you send it to the printers. You said we only have a few hours, right? We'll need to come up with a plan and stay focused.
You sound like you're taking charge. The apprentice has become the master.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't mean to boss you around. I just like to make sure everything is organized.
No, that's perfect.
Yeah, Cormac definitely needs someone to keep him focused.
I blush at yet another interjection from one of the other organizers. Is she listening from over here the whole time? I hope she thinks I'm doing okay at my job.
It's true, you seem way more organized than I am, so we make a great team. You can be like my manager, and I can be the eccentric rock star you need to drag away from parties to make sure he doesn't sleep through his show the next day.
Don't indulge the rockstar fantasy. You don't want to hear about what happened that time that Cormac tried to start a band.
Like and subscribe was a great band, Morag. You're just jealous that you're not a one-hit wonder.
Sure, if you can even call that song a hit.
It was on the charts, technically.
Hey, about that whole keeping focus thing.
Right.
Cormac sits up, straight at attention.
What are we doing first, boss?
Well, I lean over Cormac's laptop to point out what I think we should do first. He nods and begins to make some changes according to my instructions. I do my best to keep him on task when he gets sidetracked, and he shows some real proficiency with image editing once he really gets down to it. Over the next little while, the final poster begins to take shape. It's not perfect, but it looks a lot better than it did earlier.
Hey, Morag. Eseth, check this out.
He hoists the computer into the air and runs a lap around the warehouse to show them both. Ah, be careful with that. I guess he can be as cavalier as he wants with his own electronics, but that one also has the only copy of the poster we've been working on all morning. I watch with gritted teeth as he haphazardly shoves it in each of his friends' faces while in motion. Somehow it manages to stay balanced even as he skids to a halt with it dangling from one hand. Can you send that file to the printers, like, right now before you do anything else?
Sure.
He tempts fate further by once more hurling himself onto the ground, laptop in hand, before opening up his email.
And sent.
I sigh with relief.
I can't wait to go put these up all over town. Where do you live, Kevin? I can meet you there tomorrow morning. You don't need to come all the way here when we're going to be heading downtown instead.
I consider how my family might react to a werewolf with glowing green eyes turning up at the door tomorrow. Can we make it in the afternoon instead? They should all be out of the house by then, and I don't like waking up too early anyway.
Okay.
I give Cormac my address, and make sure he also writes down some very specific directions. I can definitely picture him getting lost and wandering around for hours, and I don't need to start any rumors about the neighborhood cryptid. Our work done for the day, I say my goodbyes to my strange new coworkers and leave the warehouse. Even though all I did was spend a few hours working on a laptop, I still feel mentally and physically exhausted. I'm ready to drop into bed by the time I get home. Cormac's antics are a lot to keep up with. A furious rapping at my bedroom door wakes me up the next morning, accompanied by the shrill voices of my younger siblings.
Kevin, get up. There's some weird guy with really freaky contact lenses at the door for you.
Huh?
Yeah, since when do you hang out with furries?
What? Okay, I'm up. I stumble out of bed and hastily throw on some clothes before rushing past my siblings to answer the door.
Hi.
Cormac, is everything okay? I thought you were coming by later in the afternoon. I look over my shoulder, hoping he isn't about to launch into a tale about some supernatural mishap that he needs my help to solve. I can't actually see them, but I can sense my siblings lurking around the corner eavesdropping for gossip.
Yeah, everything's good. I just got really excited about the posters, so I wanted to put them up right away. Look, I picked them up as soon as the print shop opened. They're so cool.
He gestures to a big plastic bag on the ground beside him. I can't say that cool is the exact word I would use, and more importantly... Dude, this is not an emergency. You didn't have to wake me up. Or give my siblings a whole year's worth of reasons to make fun of me.
Oh, is it too early?
His face falls, and he stops fidgeting around so much.
I'm sorry, I'm naturally nocturnal, so I don't have a good sense for when other people are sleeping. Right now is like staying up late for me, and I'm so pumped, I'm ready to stay up all day.
His mood lifts again almost instantly, and the bouncing resumes.
I did bring you coffee.
He thrusts a large paper cup toward me. Thanks. Well, that almost makes up for it. I accept the cup and take a sip, eyeing his non-stop movements. How much coffee have you had?
None. This is my all-natural energy level.
Ugh, terrifying.
So are we doing posters or what?
I sigh. Well, alright. But we need to have a talk in the future about how early it's acceptable to wake me.
Okay, I love future talks. Let's go.
Cormac throws the bag of posters over his head and over his shoulder and sets off at almost a run. Holy shit. I swear I read for a living. I'm going to work. I call out to my unseen siblings as I grab my wallet and phone and follow the speedy werewolf out the door. Fortunately, I have time to catch up to him when he screeches to a halt at the street corner.
Almost forgot.
He pulls the hood of his sweater up, covering his ears.
I have to make sure I hide my wolf features out in public.
You couldn't have thought about that before knocking on my door? My family's gonna ask a ton of questions when I get home, you know. At least they seem to have assumed that he's wearing a costume, so I'm not going to have to explain the existence of the supernatural just yet. But I'm still bracing myself for an earful from my parents about this weird crowd I'm getting involved with.
Oh, that's right. Your family doesn't know about demi-humans, do they?
He pauses to staple a poster to a telephone pole before continuing down the street at his constant brisk pace.
I'm so used to hanging out with Morag and Esseth all the time that I hadn't even thought about it. I've never had very many human friends.
I struggle to keep up as we approach the neighborhood park. What did we just say to him? Well, I've never...
Hey, I bet I can climb that tree.
He's running to climb that tree. Just watching horror. Before I can say anything, Cormac has tossed the sack of posters down on the ground and sprinted into the park. He appears to be planning to use a running start to leap up and grab a tree branch that's at least a couple feet higher than he'd normally be able to reach from the ground. And there's a moment as he kicks off into the air with an unexpected grace that I almost believe he's going to make it. I held my breath. Time seems to slow down, his hoodie rippling in the wind. And then his fingers just barely graze the bottom of the branch and he crashes down into the dirt on his face. Oof. Cormac, are you okay? I rush to his side, grabbing the discarded posters on my way. Fortunately, by the time I reach him, he's already getting back up to his feet, readjusting his head and brushing dirt off his clothes.
Yeah, I'm fine. Don't worry about it. This happens all the time.
I shudder to imagine how often. But since he isn't hurt, I shrug and head back for the park's main path. He follows me, seemingly more capable of sticking to a slower pace now that I have taken the lead.
Sorry, what were you gonna say earlier before I saw the tree?
I think back to a few moments ago. Oh yeah, well, you said you've never had very many human friends. I was just gonna say that I've never had a werewolf friend either, so I guess we're even.
Ooh, fun fact.
Cormac skips a few steps in his enthusiasm.
I'm not technically a werewolf.
Really? I feel my face flush, and I hope that his hood obscures his peripheral vision enough that he can't see it. I guess I shouldn't have assumed, but...
Hey, it's totally fine. I mean, it is called the warehouse and everything. But that's more of a convenient pun. I don't really mind if people think I'm a werewolf. I do have a lot in common with them. Some of my distant cousins are part werewolf, actually. But I'm actually a Barghest.
Barghest? I've never actually heard of that.
Not a lot of people have. Let's get some posters up over there, and then I'll tell you all about it.
We arrive at the central courtyard of the park with a circle of benches and several community notice boards covered in flyers for other events. Aren't Barghests black dogs? Because that would actually make sense. Cormac picks out a few good spots for our own advertisements before leading me into a less populated area among some trees. We take a seat on a partially hidden bench and Cormac scans for any observers before removing the hood of his sweatshirt once more. The fur on his ears has been visibly smoothed down and he reaches both hands up to ruffle it.
This is much more comfortable.
The hood doesn't hurt your ears, does it? I wouldn't want to force him into physical discomfort on my account. Then again, he is the one who wanted to get up and run around town this early anyway.
Oh no, it's fine. I always make sure I buy sweaters with nice big comfy hoods. But it just feels better to be more free. I wouldn't wear any clothes at all if society didn't say we had to.
I can't help but picture Cormac dancing around the public park fully nude. I wonder if he has a typical masculine human body or if there are some more wolf characteristics hidden under his clothes. So what she's really asking here is, does he have a human dick or... At the very least, I imagine he must have an extra hairy chest. I look down at his t-shirt feeling a little curious about it now. God damn it. But I guess I should stick to the less personal questions first. So you were going to tell me what the difference is between a werewolf and, I trail off, not wanting to pronounce the new word I just learned wrong.
A Barghest, right.
He leans toward me, his necklace is jingling.
So one of the main differences is that a werewolf will become a wolf when there's a full moon, no matter what. They can't really control it. Barghests can shape-shift into wolf form too, but it's not on a specific cycle like that. Not all Barghests are in full control of it all the time. Sometimes we might shift instinctively as a reaction to stress or surprise or something. But usually the more practice we get, the more we're able to transform at will.
So you're choosing to be in human form right now. You could just turn into a wolf if you wanted?
Basically, yeah.
Is it difficult to do?
It's kind of like kind of any kind of exercise, really. If I get out of shape, it might take a lot more effort and tire me out. But I do my wolf workouts pretty regularly, so it's no big deal for me.
He grins and flexes a bicep. I can't tell if it's actually especially toned or not since he's wearing such a thick hoodie. So when you transform, you're still totally conscious and everything? Same guy, just in wolf form? Cormac's personality actually makes a lot more sense when I imagine him as a big dog.
Yup, so you might think that makes us less scary than werewolves, right? A werewolf on a full moon is going totally feral, but a Barghest is still a sentient person. We won't attack you for no reason.
Right. I hadn't even considered the possibility that I might encounter a wild werewolf until now. I'm going to start checking the phases of the moon before I go out at night.
But you see...
Cormac leans toward me again with a sudden sharpness to the shine in his eyes. The wind kicks up almost as if on cue, making me glad I'm also wearing a hoodie.
In a way, that means a Barghest can be even scarier. Because you know that if a Barghest does something violent, it's not just animal instinct, it's an act of real and terrifying malice.
I can feel Cormac's breath on my throat, and I find myself leaning away, shifting toward the edge of the bench.
There's an old story about an evil Barghest like that, you know? A night went looking for it in a cave in the cliffs. He thought he could defeat it, but of course he was a fool. What can a human do against the raw power of a spirit wolf? On the steep fell's height shone the fair moonlight, and its beams illumined the dale, and a silvery sheen clothed the forest green which sighed to the moaning gale.
Is he reciting a poem? Since when does Cormac, this guy who's proven to be dumb as a brick on several occasions throughout our entire short acquaintance, just casually memorize poetry? It's so absurd that I almost have to laugh, but at the same time, the scene he's describing is genuinely chilling. His deep voice resonates through the trees as he continues his performance, the wind seeming to increase in intensity along with him. It even looks overcast outside all of a sudden. Can Barghests control the weather? The more words that leave his lips, the more willing I am to believe that he can and does control anything he wants.
And a dreadful thing from the cliff did spring, and its wild bark thrilled around. Its eyes had the glow of the fire below. 'Twas the form of the spectre hound.
Ah! With my involuntary shriek, the spell, if there ever was one, seemed to be broken. The vicious wind is calmed back down to a gentle caress. The sun peeks out of the clouds once more, and Cormac tosses his head back in genuinely joyous laughter.
You should have seen your face. You were so scared. I can't believe it. I was just fucking with you. Barghest's not scary at all.
He wheezes, struggling to catch his breath. The corners of my mouth twitch, and soon I'm giggling along with him. That was so mean. I was really scared.
You was scared? Of me? That poem is just a made-up ghost story. Barghests are mostly really friendly. Isn't that obvious? Look at me. Look how not scary I am. I can't believe that actually worked.
As the clouds dissipate further and the sun warms our faces, Cormac puts a comforting arm around my shoulders. We relax on the bench together for a few more minutes, laughing until we can't anymore. Eventually, he stands up, stretches, and tucks his ears back into his hood.
Okay, let's get back to work.
Hey, isn't it my job to keep you on task? Cormac puffs at his chest.
Well, since it was a little mean of me to prank you so hard, I'm gonna try to make up for it by being more responsible. For the rest of the day, at least.
I smile as I get to my feet and sling the bag of posters over my shoulder. I've learned my lesson now. I don't believe anything you say.
No, I'm totally serious. I'm gonna put up so many posters and not try to climb any trees. I promise.
Sure. His protestations about how hard he's going to work only last until we exit the park into the main street on the other side of it, and he catches sight of an interesting-looking building.
Hey, check this out. Parkour.
No. I sprint after him once more and the plastic bag slips out of my hand. The wind picks up again and a few of the posters lift into the air, wafting down the street behind us as I attempt to coax Cormac down from a windowsill. I guess it's one way to get them out to where people will look at them. My phone's ringtone wakes me up the next morning. I groan as I force myself out of bed and begin groggily searching the room for the source of the sound. My feet are killing me after doing so much running around with Cormac yesterday. We did get the whole stack of posters up all over town eventually, but not without several more distractions. It was already getting dark out by the time I headed home to face my family's scrutiny. At least Cormac told me that after all that work I could take the next day off.
Did you sleep well?
But now he's calling my phone for some reason. Alright, I guess. In fact, he's video calling my phone. Who just does that without warning? I hope my hair isn't too messy.
It's not too early to call, right? I made sure to wait until 10.
I did in fact instruct him last night that if he ever wanted my help at the last minute again, 10 a.m. was the earliest that I wouldn't be mad about. I didn't expect him to follow his directions so soon, but I have to admit that according to what I told him, he's not technically doing anything wrong. It's fine. What's up?
Well, I told Morag about all the great work we got done yesterday.
As soon as he finishes the sentence, his characteristic grin transforms into a beleaguered-looking frown.
But when she reminded me that physical posters are only half the advertising job, apparently I'm also supposed to do something on the internet. And I know I gave you the day off, so I don't want to bother you, but...
He looks over his shoulder before whispering into the phone.
Kevin, I really don't understand the internet. I need your help.
I chuckle. I should have expected something like this. Okay, fine. Do you want me to come by the warehouse?
Warehouse. And yes, please.
I'll see you there. I sigh and survey the room for clean clothes to put on. Maybe a nice outfit Cormac hasn't seen before. Oh, who am I kidding? I wear the same hoodie every day. Cormac is the only one there when I arrive, hunched over his laptop on the floor again. I guess Morag and Esteth have gone out to take care of other tasks.
Kevin!
He springs to his feet when he sees me, almost spilling the drink he's holding in one hand.
I got you some coffee again.
Thanks. Dealing with Cormac sometimes feels like it's a net neutral in terms of my mood. He annoys me by waking me up early with far too much enthusiasm, but then he makes up for it with nice little gestures like this. He watches eagerly as I take a sip, waiting for my reaction. It's good. Well, maybe it's better than net neutral. It is pretty nice to see his face light up when he succeeds in making me smile.
I'm glad you like it. So, can you explain the internet to me? Morag says we have to make some posts and try to get some likes.
He moves his finger to symbol quotation marks as he speaks.
She also says, I can't believe you forgot that, Cormac. We do it every year. I don't remember, though. Maybe I was distracted last year.
That seems likely. Well, where does she want you to make these posts? Do you have social media accounts for the warehouse specifically, or are we talking just personally posting in some community groups? He knits his brows.
I think we had an account somewhere. I remember getting in trouble once for trying too many wrong passwords. Why do passwords have to be so complicated, Kevin? They're always telling you that you need numbers and special characters. It's too much to remember. I can never even think up good ones in the first place. I need someone else to be a password thinker-upper for me.
Well, I don't know about that part. But I could set up some shiny new accounts for the warehouse in a few places and try to build more of an online presence.
Okay, let's do some posts.
Over the next little while, I put together some social media pages for the warehouse, using that nice logo my friend helped out with for the avatar. Cormac looks over my shoulder, nodding with approval as I search for relevant groups and hashtags to share the information about the event. It's not nearly as exciting as the adventures of the previous day, but it might be more efficient at getting the word out. Hang on, thinking about those adventures gives me an idea. Cormac, do we have any of the sets and costumes and stuff ready for tomorrow?
We build a lot of the sets tomorrow morning when some extra people come in to help. But I bet Esteth has most of the costumes ready and some props and stuff too. Why?
Call them and see what we can use. I bet we could throw together a pretty good video trailer.
Oh, like a preview for a movie, but the movie is us?
Exactly. I'm thinking we get some good shots of the most creepy looking stuff we have, and I pause for a dramatic flourish. Maybe Cormac's theatrics are rubbing off on me.
And what?
And you could read that scary Barghest poem. Cormac's jaw drops.
I get to star in the movie?
Well, it's not exactly a movie, but sure.
I'll call Eseth right now.
With Eseth's help, we get some good shots that provide a preview of the attractions of the warehouse without giving too much away. The way they set the lighting up is perfect. Everything comes out looking super creepy as it should. Even though I've already heard the poem once before, I still get a bit of a shiver run down my spine when Cormac records the audio. It's amazing how intimidating he can make himself sound when his real personality is such an extreme contrast. For the last shot of the trailer, we decide to go with Cormac himself emerging from the shadows, staring down the camera with his glowing eyes. From there, it dissolves into a black screen displaying all the event information for tomorrow night. I post the link to all the places I can think of before letting out a deep sigh and lying down on the warehouse floor. It's getting dark outside already. I hope there's still enough time for some people to notice the cool video before the event tomorrow night. Cormac sits down next to me as Eseth rearranges the last of the props that we were using.
Sorry I made you work so hard when it was supposed to be your day off.
That's okay. The video was my idea anyway.
And it was a great idea. I would never have thought of something like that. You should be in charge of marketing every year. Well, if you want to, I mean.
I smile and try to imagine a future in which I work on this haunted house with Cormac, Eseth, and Morag every October. It's definitely not the kind of normal steady job my parents want me to get, but it might be nice.
Hey, has anyone watched the video yet? I want to see.
Yeah, we started super early tonight, Chase. I think at this rate we're actually gonna finish Warehouse by like 11, I think. Actually, we might finish it by 10:30. Eseth was cute. Eseth's route was pretty cute. Cormac's has been fun so far because I've gotten to do my voice for Cormac. It's one of my favorite voices to do. It's like my fourth favorite of all of them, so. Probably not many people yet, but I'll check. I sit up and refresh the video page. We're actually getting... Yeah, we got Eseth done already. Eseth was short. Part of it is also the entire day of the actual event is mostly skipped. There's only like 2 or 3 lines that change based on which character you're with. So like one of the almost a quarter of the route was mostly skipped until you get back to the like fire, the bonfire at the end of the night, and then it definitely goes back to being different. We're actually getting a fair amount of comments already. Some of them the typical rudeness you get on the internet, but most of them pretty positive. This is fun. This looks fun. Is it weird that I think the creepy guy at the end looks kind of hot? Lol. Damn it, I wish they wouldn't do that. I want to be able to read them all. Look, Cormac, people love you. As I tilt the screen so we can see it, one comment in particular catches my eye. Hang on, were you actually in a famous band that people recognize you from?
Yeah, didn't I mention? Like and subscribe. We only ever made one album, but it did pretty well in the local indie scene. Hang on a minute.
His eyes dart between the relevant comment and the buttons just below the video.
Like and... I get it now.
I have so many questions, both general ones about Cormac's brief music career, and specific ones about how he managed to miss the pun in his own band name until now. But they'll have to wait for later, since it's already past time for me to go home. Also, Cormac isn't a werewolf, he's a Barghest. I hope my brother doesn't eat my share of dinner before I get there again. I start to stand up and close my laptop, but Cormac stops me.
Hang on just a second. I want to read all these comments.
Okay, but if there's no food for me left when I get home, I'm sending you guys my takeout bill. Cormac nods, his attention still absorbed in the screen.
Wow, this person says I'm hot.
If it's the same comment I just saw, they also called him creepy in the same sentence, but I'm glad he's focusing on the positive. I guess creepy could be a compliment when it's a trailer for a haunted house anyway.
Is that true?
You're asking for my opinion? Cormac turns to look at me, the laptop screen lighting up one half of his face while the other is in shadow. At least partially in shadow. He can never be fully covered in darkness because of the way his bright green eyes and the frontmost locks of his hair always create their own light. The same way his constantly cheerful personality lights up any room so that you can't help but be happy to be around him, even when he's acting totally ridiculous. Or at least I can't. I mean, that's very subjective and depends on the person, and also, yes. I have to go now.
Okay.
That was cute. This time he relinquishes control of the laptop more easily, and I slam it shut before scrambling to my feet and whirling toward the exit. As I approach the door with a speed that rivals Cormac's exhausting walking pace, he merrily calls out to me.
I think you're hot too, Kevin. Maybe you should be in the video next year. I bet we'd get even more comments.
Yeah, good idea.
I mumble something along the lines of thanks while staring at my shoes for the whole walk out. I can't even. Oh my god, I loved Cormac. Does he mean anything by that, or does he just call his friends hot all the time? Also, was Eseth listening in that whole time? It's the big day. D-Day. Okay, we can skip. It's funny, I've spent all this time working with Cormac, but I have no real idea what the others have been up to all this time, or what to expect when I get to the warehouse. I bet Eseth thrifted these from somewhere just for the haunt. Are they from Morag's house? She seems like the kind of person who would own lots of dusty antiques, right? Even with all the spooky poetry, I kind of forgot his wolf form was meant to be scary, to be honest. I'd been imagining it as more of a big dog than a spooky wolf. Still, I suppose anything can be scary when you can't see it head on. Either way. There we go. See what I mean? This whole day is skippy. Oh, jeez. We got it in one. Yes. We didn't get the bad end for once. With Eseth, we managed to get one answer wrong.
It's me. I got it.
I can hear Cormac's excited voice from all the way across the yard. I can't help but smile. He's worked surprisingly hard to make this happen after all, so I'm happy for him. No doubt any money he does get will go straight into making next year's haunt even bigger than the last. My slice of cake and I head back towards the fire, finding a spot on an empty bench upwind so the smoke doesn't get in my eyes.
Damn it, no, I didn't get the good ending again. Fuck.
Okay. Okay, maybe we should just go along with him on everything. I was skeptical at first, but I think that actually makes sense. Red blood and green slime it is. It's unique.
Thanks.
The last thing I wanted to ask about was the logo. Okay. It is really cute. Still, I'm charmed by his description. I don't want to make him feel like it's bad art if it means that much to him. Maybe the rough aesthetic will catch some people's eyes. Okay, you've sold it. We'll keep your logo. Rogue, you know the rules. I always get the bad end on my first try. Because of the heart. He pumps his fist in the air.
Yes, I know all the feelings I poured into it will get through to people.
I hope so.
Talking about that gets me thinking about the early days of the warehouse. It may look like a hugely successful local business right now, but there was a time when it was really just a passion project by a group of friends.
Still clenching his fist, Cormac stares out into the distance. Well, as much distance as there is before you hit the wall of the warehouse, anyway.
Back when all I had was a dream about bringing the people of this town the Halloween experience of their lives. Only one person believed in me, my best friend Morag. That is, until we met Esseth and the trio of warehouse visionaries was complete.
He turns back toward me, dropping a bit of his dramatic monologue act.
Oh man, let me tell you the story of how we met Esseth. It's hilarious. So Morag and I were...
I would love to hear that story. I blurt the words out with false enthusiasm as quickly as I can before he can start another tangent. But maybe you can tell me later? We still have a lot of work to do on the poster.
Oh yeah, the poster, let's do it.
Even if we aren't changing much of the basic design, we could still probably spruce things up a bit, and that might take a while to get done. You said we only have a few hours, right? We'll need to come up with a plan and stay focused. Okay. Thank him for the coffee. Just watching horror. Over the next little while, I put together some social media pages for the warehouse using that logo Cormac allegedly put all his heart into for the avatar. Cormac looks over my shoulder, nodding with approval, and blah, blah. We already did that one. Interesting that nothing changed about it, even though we used a different logo. Well, I guess Cormac's idea about impressing people with the heart in his logo didn't really work, but at least it attracted some customers anyway. I think this is definitely bad end. Yeah, that's bad end. Okay, I think in that case, the solution is we change everything. We rein him in and make him a responsible person for the duration, and we'll see how that goes. You do have a point, but I think the poster might stand out more with some different fonts. Something people haven't seen a million times before and don't have any associations with already. Cormac tilts his head as wolf ear is flopping a bit to the side.
A new font people haven't seen before. Where are you going to find something like that?
Cormac, let me introduce you to the wonder that is 1000freefonts.com. Cormac's eyes widen.
That's so many fonts. And they're all free?
Oh, you're gonna love it. But before that, I was wondering about the color scheme, too. There's one major issue with that. And maybe we could do something more polished. Pretty happy with how it turned out. Maybe Cormac and I really do make a good team.
Hey, Morag, Esseth, check this out.
I know they do look pretty cool, but... Dude, this is not an emergency. You didn't have to wake me up. Thank him for the coffee. Try to stop him from killing himself. Wait! By the time I call out, he's already tossed the sack of posters down on the ground and starts sprinting toward the park. But he halts when he hears my voice, and I jog a few steps to catch up again, picking the posters back up on my way. Cormac, look at all these posters we have to hang up. You can't get distracted climbing up random trees. Especially not that one. I gestured toward the nearby tree he seemed to be gunning for. That branch is way too high up to reach, even for you.
Well, I was going to go for a running start and then jump. But, maybe you're right. I won't try to climb it right now while we're working, but on the way back later.
He gives the tree a longing look. Satisfied that he's at least going to stay away from it for now, I shrug and head back for the park's main path. He follows me, seemingly more capable of sticking to a slower pace now that I've taken the lead. Okay.
I came because this poster's downtown. It really caught my eye. I love the color scheme and that cool logo.
Nailed it. Maybe. My thoughts are suddenly interrupted by a loud voice right behind me.
I think we did it. Hey, Kevin, do you want to go out with me?
Okay. That was easy. What? Go where? I'm too startled by his appearance from out of nowhere to properly parse the question.
Right, that was too sudden. Let me start this again.
Cormac takes a seat next to me. My heart rate, which had begun to slow down in recovery from the shock, speeds up again as he gently takes my hands in his.
I wanted to say that I've really liked working with you over the past few days. I know that I can sometimes get too excited about new ideas without fully thinking them through, but you're a lot more down to earth. I got so much more work done than last year because you were there to explain different viewpoints and keep me focused when I got distracted. You're the exact kind of person I need in my life to bring out the best in me. And like I said, I think you're really hot too, so do you want to go on a date?
I smile as I watch a reflection of the bonfire dancing in his bright green eyes. I'd love to.
Awesome.
With a big grin on his face, he throws an arm around me and I rest my head on his shoulder. So when do you want to go out?
Well, we have a lot of work to do cleaning everything up tomorrow, but maybe the day after that.
Okay. Oh, but we're absolutely not meeting up early in the morning again. It's going to be noon at the very least.
Oh, but I wanted to go out for breakfast and get some more coffee.
Cormac, you know there are lots of all-day breakfast places, right? We can do that any time of day.
Really? Cool.
Aw, that's kind of cute. It's not as cute as Eseth's snakes playing in Kevin's hair, though. That was adorable.
So breakfast at noon the day after tomorrow, then.
Sure, I'm looking forward to it.
Me too.
He pulls me closer and I wrap my arms around his waist as we relax in the glow of the bonfire. The choice to date this absolute maniac might be about to turn my life completely upside down, but I think I'll enjoy it anyway. Hey, maybe Halloween isn't so bad after all. Ending 2. Ah! That's where the other ending was. That makes sense. I'm a moron. I was literally, after Eseth's, I was like, okay, Morag's was, or friend bad end is 1, Morag's was 3, Eseth is 4, where the fuck is number 2? Because in my mind, for some reason, I was assuming that Cormac's would be 5, and I was like, what, is number 2 like a hyper bad end? Is number 2 a super secret harem ending? What? And then I just realized that there is no 5. There's only 4 endings, and Cormac's is number 2. Okay. Wait, who did the CG arts? Those were good too. Especially the ending CG. I really like the ending CG in each one. I wish. You know what's missing from this? This game? Yes, Chase. That's what's missing from this game. I'm sitting here looking for it and I'm like, wait a second. No. I was gonna show you the awesome Eseth ending scene, CG. If there was a gallery.